What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. Today's video I want to talk about Destiny 2 Titans and the crazy builds that you're probably seeing a lot of creators use right now. I want to first off say that this build isn't too hard to utilize. It does take some practice to kind of get used to. At the same time, me using it is a bit more of a throw because I don't play Titan that much. This is actually one of the most fun builds that I have ran in the longest time, and really good for endgame and just normal game content entirely. First off, I want to say this worked in GMs, which obviously the gameplay you got to see is in the GM Moon Battleground. It is the current one. The weapon was plug 1, nobody cares, plug 1's garbage, yada yada. PvPers, you can enjoy it. I'm not going to take off my Techion's Force, which has the god roll that this has. But getting back on topic. So first off, the main thing you want to be using for this is the exotic class items. Firstly, with the exotic class items, you need to get Symphoceps and Heart of Immos Light, or Immos Symphos, whatever you want to call it, just that. This exotic will pretty much do two things for you. Buff your melee damage when you are surrounded, and as the second half is, you get faster ability regen with Immos. This way you can constantly do slams more frequently. Again, I pair this with Glacial Grenade or Shackle Grenade, whatever you feel more comfortable using. Stasis this season, having Glacial is probably more effective. At the same time, for long term and after this season kind of goes away, I would rate Shackle Grenade over instead. This isn't a build that is meant to be passively played, it is meant to be more aggressive. So if you are someone who plays very passive, start to learn the more aggressive play styles. Again, I would say for endgame content, due to Banes as well, as you can see in the footage, be careful on the Banes that you're fighting. Some of them, such as Slow and Mines, will get you more frequently than others. Stuff like Drain and Shock is very annoying, so play your life before you go aggressive. If you don't have health, back the hell away. Back the hell away if you do not have health. If you have health, go wild. Go absolutely wild. But overall, this build, I would suggest having as weapons with it Velocity Baton or Lost Signal. If you're using Lost Signal, then you're kind of setting yourself up to get obviously your Darkness energy for Transcendence, and if you're using Velocity Baton, that will be free lighter energy. I personally pair this with Velocity Baton due to the fact that I have some mods on my boots and other armor sets that work really well with Attrition Orbs, so I get my melee back more frequently. I'll get into my build a bit later in the video with aspects and what I use myself, but overall, just watch some of the gameplay and I will be back shortly.
Patch me in and I'll get that door open again.
So as for armor and everything, the main things you should be rocking is double hands-on, double heavy-handed. You don't need to be worrying about ammo, especially in a lot of these activities, because ammo will just come freely. If you do want to worry about ammo, you can change one of those heavy-handed, you can change one of those hands-on to a heavy or a special finder, depending on what you're using. Resist mods or resist mods, whatever activity you put on those. Then obviously invigoration and better already, so you constantly are gaining health. Double outreach and distribution is the best way to utilize this, so your melee, when you've used your thruster, you will get that more frequently. I know we are behind obviously what's being shown, but I use Hunjuri, Attrition Orbs, Demolitionist, Velocity Baton and Anarchy for this Grandmaster. I will say again that depending on what you're doing, the velocity battle or the loss signal are very effective. As for obviously aspects, I'm using consecration and knockout. Knockout every time you get a kill on low health and every time you get a kill in general with a melee. It doesn't have to be just the frenzy blade. This is why we're using consecration. You do get your health back. Glacial grenade and frenzy blade, you can change glacial to shackles as I was saying earlier, and I pair this with thruster. As for jump, you can use whatever jump you feel comfortable with. Thruster, I know you guys are probably thinking, but I want to have a barricade just in case I get shit thrown at me. No, you're just kind of moving, so thruster is the better call here. If you want to glitch shit out with obviously barricades and that sort of shit, I don't care enough about that sort of stuff, but you can. Obviously, as facets or prismatic fragments, whatever they're called, facets, etc. I use protection, dawn, purpose, ruin, and courage. If you don't want to use dawn, you can get away with using balance, but my opinion is that dawn is more effective as it will get you radiant. You'll be able to do more damage overall. And if you're not using obviously courage and ruin, and like this whole setup entirely, if you're not using it the way it's intended, you don't get your abilities back faster, you don't debuff more damage. When you're using debuffs, you pretty much are kind of throwing. The whole purpose of obviously purpose is just to work with your obviously super. So if you don't want to use stasis and you want healing, you would chuck on something like solar. If you want woven mail, you use strand. If you want overshield, you use void. If you want amplified, you use arc. But depending on the activity, I recommend using obviously whatever is suitable for it. Personally, in a lot more obviously dungeons, I will use void. If I'm doing a lot more raids, I may use arc. I will never touch strand or solar for this because I believe they are both ineffective and useless on obviously Prismatic Titan. That is my opinion. And do remember that roaming supers are going to get a buff as well, so Glacial Quake is included in that list. Hammers is also, but at the same time, I would not really care enough about it. Otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this helps you understand the concept of how to utilize, obviously, Prismatic Titan more, and when you're watching people use these sort of builds, you are understanding the concept. Obviously, there's more to the video, so if you guys want to just see how this obviously all ends up, and obviously how we kind of do the boss and that, by all means, feel free to stick around. Otherwise, consider subscribing, liking to the channel. I'll be adding more videos like this going forward, whether they be Warlock or Hunters, depending on what people are really curious about. Till then, hope you guys enjoy. Peace out.
Mind is in our control. Well done, Guardians. And preserved minds clinging to a frail existence.
I assume that was directed at me.
Did you solve that riddle all on your own?
I cut Clovis's comlink. I don't think his response was important.